Hello and welcome to the recorded version of an Introduction to Financial Aid. Yelm High School hosted a free application for federal student aid, also known as FAFSA, informational night in partnership with the Washington Student Achievement Council on Wednesday, October 2nd. If you were unable to attend or need a refresher on financial aid, you've come to the right place. There is not just one meaning for financial aid. It is an umbrella term that includes four types: grants, scholarships, loans, and work study. Grants are income-based. They are federal and state aid that do not need to be paid back. Scholarships are merit and income-based from public, private, and non-profit sources that also do not need to be paid back. Loans are income-based, coming from federal and private resources. These do need to be paid back, typically with interest. Work study is income-based from federal and state resources. This includes working a job and the payment going towards educational costs. We will talk next about the specifics. Financial aid can come from several sources. Federal is from the U.S. Department of Education and can be used at most colleges in the U.S. They have to be able to receive financial aid. Students can take this to another state. State financial aid is provided to students to attend college in the same state they currently reside. For example, Washington State financial aid is for residents to attend colleges in Washington. They do not necessarily have to be public colleges, but they have to be able to receive state financial aid. There are currently over 60 colleges in Washington that receive state aid. Every college will have their own financial aid that they offer to students who are going to their school. Organizations such as nonprofits, churches, businesses, and banks also provide scholarships or private loans. We will talk about applications for these specific forms of aid later. There are several types of federal financial aid. Students need to be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen, permanent residents with a green card as an example, to apply. A Pell Grant is the largest income-based grant. The maximum amount for 2016 to 2017 was $5,815. You may be familiar with this grant as it is a long-standing program. There have been some changes over the years, so make sure you investigate current Pell Grant requirements, such as maximum award amounts used to be able to use during the summer. Students can work on campus and their salary is paid from the Department of Education on-campus employers to the student. Not all on-campus jobs require a student to be part of the work-study program. Loans. Both of these are in the student's name. The difference is that with unsubsidized student loans, the student will ultimately pay the interest accrued once they graduate and/or leave college. Subsidized student loans is that the government pays or subsidizes the interest while the student is in school. Parent loans are taken out by the parent to pay for the student's expenses. They are additional requirements, such as a credit check. There is not a limit on the loan amount for parent loans. If offered any or all of these loans from the government, students and families can accept none, partial, or all that they want to utilize. There are also private loans from banks, but they typically have higher interest rates and are more limited repayment options than federal loans. Students apply for these programs using the FAFSA. Students who are not eligible to apply for these programs due to immigration status would not be eligible for these programs, such as federal student loans. These are examples of state financial aid programs that Washington residents who are eligible can use in Washington at eligible colleges. You may see them referred to as Washington Opportunity Pathways. The Washington College Grant, formerly the State Need Grant, is the largest income-based grant. The amount depends on what type of school you attend. The College Bound Scholarship is an early commitment of state financial aid to cover certain college costs. Students must have signed up in middle school. We'll talk more about this later. State Work Study is similar to the federal work study program, but the funding comes from Washington State versus the federal government. Passport to Careers is a program that provides additional resources for both former foster youth and unaccompanied homeless youth. The Opportunity Grant is provided to attend a 2-year community or technical college. Students who complete the FAFSA, U.S. citizens or permanent residents, are also applying for state aid programs when they complete the FAFSA. Undocumented students who meet program and state residency requirements can apply using the Washington Application for State Financial Aid, or WASFA. Speaking of FAFSA and WASFA, students should only complete one application. Fill out the FAFSA if you are eligible for federal aid, so if you are a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, and this will also be used to determine state aid eligibility. If you are ineligible for federal aid due to immigration status, but you are eligible for a state financial aid program, so this would be for undocumented students, complete the WASFA. Some colleges may also use WASFA in place of FAFSA when calculating institutional aid. There are plenty of resources to help you complete these applications and determine which one to file. One of these websites is readysetgrad.org/WASFA. This slide is only for students completing the FAFSA. The first step in filling out the FAFSA is to create an FSA ID. Your FSA ID serves as a legal signature and should not be shared with anyone, including family, school personnel, loan servicers, or contact center agents. By creating your own FSA ID, you're more likely to remember your username, password, and the answers to your challenge questions. Without these, you can lose access to your account and be unable to log into federal student aid websites. An email address cannot be used with more than one FSA ID. If you forget your username or password, you can request that a secure code be emailed to you to allow you to reset your username or password. For security reasons, you don't want that code being sent to someone else. Including your cell phone can be helpful if you get locked out. A dependent student will need to have one of his or her legal parents or guardians sign the student's FAFSA. So the parent needs an FSA ID as well. It's important to understand that the student and the parent may not share an FSA ID. Your FSA ID is your signature, so it has to be unique to you. For mixed documentation families, parents without a Social Security number will not be able to apply for an FSA ID and will physically sign a copy of the FAFSA signature page. The FSA ID never expires. Keep it. If you get locked out, there are two options to unlock your account. Via email, which is the easiest and why it's recommended to have an email address, or challenge questions. It can take 30 minutes to unlock, so it's important to have your FSA ID before you start to file the FAFSA. If a student is completing the FAFSA, but their parents are undocumented, or they don't have a Social Security number, they should put all zeros for the parent's Social Security number. They will need to print out and sign a signature page and mail to the Department of Education instead of signing online. When students go to file a WASFA, they will need to create an account as well. Here are some next steps. Students should apply for admission and financial aid starting in the fall. It is important to respond to college letters, especially if you are selected for verification. Colleges will receive student financial aid information from the Washington Student Achievement Council and the Department of Education. You will then receive your financial aid packages from the college. Be sure to respond when they ask you for information. As stated in the previous slide, some students are selected for verification. This is a common occurrence and doesn't necessarily mean a student did something wrong. It is important to provide the information requested as soon as possible and to ask questions. The College Bound Scholarship is a state financial aid commitment to eligible students who signed up in middle school. College Bound Scholarship funds may come from different buckets of state financial aid that can cover tuition at public rates, small fees, and book allowance. If you aren't sure about your College Bound funds, contact the program with questions. Students who signed up for the College Bound Scholarship in middle school must graduate with a 2.0 GPA from a Washington high school, not be convicted of a felony, apply for financial aid and be income eligible, enroll in college within 1 year of graduating high school, and it must be used for 4 years within 5 years of graduating high school. If you are not income eligible 1 year, still apply for financial aid. You may be eligible the next year. So how do scholarships work? Scholarship providers build a listing for each scholarship they want to offer on the washboard.org's website. This listing provides all the necessary information for potential applicants. Students, aka scholarship seekers, create a profile online, which is then compared to all available scholarships. A list of the seeker's best scholarship matches is immediately displayed to them online. The seeker creates an application for their matches after reading the details provided. Seekers can apply for as many scholarships as they choose. The scholarship seeker submits an application to the provider either by mail, by website, or by using the washboard.org as the electronic application host. The provider reviews their applications. If the washboard.org serves as the electronic host, the provider can review applications online or download in print. The site can also be used to email applicants about their scholarship status. Here are some examples of additional scholarship search engines. Many of these, especially scholarshipjunkies.org/beyond, have many scholarships available for undocumented students. Financial aid is one way to pay for college. Here are a few other ways. GET stands for Guaranteed Education Tuition, which is a prepaid college savings plan. If you have GET credits, you will enter this information when you file the FAFSA and work with your college to get them sent over. Dream Ahead is an investment-based program. You can also work on campus or in the summer to save for your expenses. Most colleges will have ways to pay in installments. Talk to the colleges you are interested in to receive more information about this way to pay. Don't forget, applying is just the first step. Respond to questions and be sure to remember that you will need to apply for financial aid every school year. Washington has a great resource for you too. ReadySetGrad.org will have Washington-specific information. There is also a map of where you can receive help with completing either the FAFSA or the WASFA. If need be, ask for help. Here are some ways to contact the Washington Student Achievement Council, our state's financial aid agency. Thank you so much for watching and listening.